Hey everyone, Matt Reinband here, 3 o'clock, Fridays, our new routine, love it. It's always encouraging for me when I see Robert Mondavi is starting their own thing, so I think they have a few more followers than us, but we'll get there. Friday afternoon wine tastings in Walla Walla. Dad, I'm sure you saw, posted a photo of me out burning some canes. We are working hard in the vineyard right now. It was beautiful this morning. It's a little overcast. Probably going to get some rain tomorrow this weekend. But we're off to a good start. So, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Really appreciate coming on. We had our trusty hound Dutch out there working with us. He's always out chasing gophers and doing his thing. But I'm gonna let some more people get on here. Hey, how's it going? Matt Reinband, of course, winemaker and wine grower at Reinband Family Vineyards. This is the fourth tasting we've been doing now, so we're really excited. It's been a lot of fun to do it and hang out with you guys and get to chat. This will be the 2014 Queens Road White that we're doing today. Really excited about this wine. Honestly, we've done this wine. This is one of the 3 wines that we've done since our very first vintage of 2007. It's always been a part of our program. So it's a big part of what we do for our white wines. And I have a huge passion for white wines. It's a small amount that we make, but it's every year is challenging, and some years it's really a headache and wonder why we do it, and other times it's like I wish we did more because that's so much fun to make. This is the 2014. With as like the 2014 unnamed, you kind of remember about the vintage and the year. It was a very warm year, and I kind of. I left a lot of fruit out there, to be quite honest, because I was a little worried about the heat and the whites and the canopy management. But I think we ended up getting something that was, a more Marsanne styled white that's really Rhone-like, that we do from our In the Rocks vineyard. Honestly, the name of this one came from a little bit of a family history back in Hong Kong. There's a road there called the Queens Road White, and there was a Reinband and Chambert. I think you guys might have seen the photo Dad posted of there were wine and spirit merchants. So that's where we first came up with the name, and it's been a part of the family ever since. One thing I was looking at, I think on our notes we put. This white was 55-45 Marsanne heavy. As we taste it, and as I've tasted it earlier just to see, I'm pretty confident. I was thinking it was more in the 65 to 70% Marsanne range, with the remainder of Viognier. So as we taste that, I apologize for the notes, but I believe I remember it being a higher percent of Marsanne, more Marsanne driven. So let's see. One of the things I'd like to do too is when you're doing a white wine tasting, I like to have a little bit of red as well, if you don't know where you can see that. It helps open up the aromatics and the profile, and it's really fun to do. So if you have any red hanging around, it's good to kind of mix and match. Let's see here. Dave Hanover, how you doing? How's the composition? It's always been Marsanne heavy, I think. Because I like the richness of it. There's been some years where we've had higher percentages of Viognier or 50-50 splits, but my personal palate goes for, I want a Marsanne that has the richness, the acidity, and not the acidity so much, but just the Marsanne heavy with just the floral elements of the Viognier for longevity. So good question, Dave. Thank you as always. So one of the things that, as we look at this wine, and there's a couple things here. Get ahead of myself. It's Friday, sorry. So I like to decant the whites. Some people like just to pop and pour. I think that this style of white, it's important to give it some air. So it's one of those that, I've had it open for about 30, 40 minutes right now. In the future, next bottle, you might want to think about doing that with the Marsanne, the Queen's Road White. So, thank you, Brent. Splendidly, yes, we're happy with it too. So, let's see. KMeg523 asks, is this a combination of your vineyards? I'm sorry, no, this is strictly from the In the Rocks vineyard. So, it's, as you know, on our bottles, the picture in the back for the In the Rocks. On the front here, we got the Queen's Road White. It's an alcohol percentage of, on the bottle it says 12.9. I think it was about 13, but 12.9, that works. And I want to get into something about our wines that people sometimes have, it's hard to understand because white wine production is very difficult in the way that we do it. We farm our grapes, and then everything that goes in, we press the juice, and we will not inoculate it. It only is on native yeast. So we don't bring any commercial yeast in, and with white wine, sometimes they're not strong enough, and we end up having to dump some of the wine that doesn't ferment properly or go through secondary, because all of our whites have, they go through primary fermentation for the alcohol and the secondary for the malolactic for the acid. So, but one of the things that people say about some of our wines is, and a lot of producers that make wines this way, it's a little cloudy. And I've never, had a problem with that. Some people like very clear white wines. For me, some of the best white wines I've ever have had cloudy, characteristics to it. Sometimes it's just the way the wine reacts. We all know it's alive and, it settles as much as it can. And, we rack the wine extremely clean, but there's natural sediment in there that, doesn't bother me. Wine tastes great, smells great. So that's how I feel about that. But there's some people that have been very frustrated when we've sent wine to them, like, hey, your wine's cloudy. And I have to explain, that's the style to which we do it. If you want a perfectly, clear wine, there's other producers that can go ahead and do that. But yeah, so that's a little bit more about the Queen's Road. But if everyone wants to get into it here, yep, definitely Marsanne heavy. You get that right away. The oyster shell characteristic. Beeswax, that kind of waxy coating. Typically in Marsannes, you get this characteristic in the mouthfeel, but the nose particularly has a beeswax character to it. Yeah, there's really good salinity, lots of lemon notes, lemon zest, lemon oils. Yeah, I'm not picking up as much of the Viognier. There's a little bit of a floral lift in there from it, but it's more what Marsanne smells like. It's harder to make, white wines in warm years, like 2014. So, I think concentration-wise, I mean, to be totally honest, I would have preferred a little bit more concentration. So, looking back, I might have dropped a little more fruit. I didn't want to burn with canopy management, but yeah, I think a little bit more richness maybe. But it's quite accurate to the style of wine we want to make. So, yeah. Gary Reynolds, 772. Yeah, totally agree with decanting. It just gets better and better after open for a while. Yep, couldn't agree more. That's the way to do it. There's other whites that maybe you want to, if you have one, start with a bottle, a little fresher, absolutely. But yeah, with the Marsannes like this, wines like this, you want to decant. So I always try to go back to a little bit of red here. Yeah. Just lifts both wines. I think this wine, honestly, is this is one that really does well. I miss restaurants. Everyone I know misses restaurants, but I was thinking about going out in Seattle and just anywhere to get out and taste. And if I was going to go taste this wine somewhere, it'd probably be, I would say, somewhere like Wild Ginger. I love their scallops, the pepper scallops, because Sheba's, couldn't imagine going with a Toro or something. I'd love to get back out there. I know we all would, but anyway, that's probably two of the places I would think would be really fun. But yeah, so let's get in this here a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's very fun to drink by itself, but again, it's with some sort of food in there, it gets a little, brings out a lot of the other characteristics to it. Still that salty oyster shell characteristic. Well, not as much fruit. Yeah, so I'd say again, lemon zest, really good acid in there, which is indicative of a particular style of Marsanne. Again, I think I'd like a little bit more richness, but I like how it cuts down the palate. It's going to be great for aging the wine, and really stays in the palate there. It's great. Let's see here. Yeah, light really awakens the palate, makes your mouth start salivates. Beautiful stuff here. Let's see here. Wine Society, Chicago Burbs has a question. How are older vintages of Queen's Road White holding up? I still have some 09. How much longer can I hold it? I'm glad you still have some. I wish we did. I don't know where very many bottles are of that. I love that wine. I tasted that probably over the holidays last year. It was still tasting great. So, you should probably keep it. I don't know. You have some, so you have a couple bottles. I'd open one, whenever you feel comfortable. Open one soon, and then see what you think. But it can hold up. It's a warmer year, the 2009, so the acid wasn't as present in that. 14 seems to have a little more balance of acid in there, but I would try the 2009. Thanks for the question. Yeah, this is a person. Whites is such, making the white wines is such a, it's. Oh, it's Doug. Hey, Doug. Sorry about that. I should know that. This particular style is one that some people, don't like, and that's fine. But for me, it's very much my interpretation of, what these varietals can do here in Walla Walla, and my travels and ability to recognize certain characteristics in the wine. It's very Rhone-like. It's very much what we look for in a Marsanne, with a little touch of Viognier in there. So I'm very pleased with it, and I think a lot of people who like that style of wine would really enjoy this. Hi, Grace Helen Stanton. Couldn't do this without you. Hope you're doing well, you and your family. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, the questions coming in. It's always fun to hear people's thoughts. And I'm trying to think what else might be fun to. Yeah. One of the things too is, again, when we think about this is again the unfined and unfiltered. So goes back to that characteristic of the cloudiness. I don't know why I keep bringing that up. I think it's because some people really they come to the winery and don't even want to touch the wine, and it's off-putting to me. It doesn't feel. I I wish more people would give this type of wine a chance, because not all of our whites are like this. So, but if it happens, it's more of a natural thing, and people should be a little more open to it. I'm sure there's been circumstances where they haven't been happy with the results, but the way in which we do things, the proper way of growing the grapes and making the wine, definitely everyone should be happy and pleased with the wine. But I love this wine. Every time I go back to it, I just love Marsanne, and I don't think there's anyone, maybe now because it's been around for a while, but very, very few people experiment with Marsanne and the blending of the two. That's what we've always done, is really stuck to this, and it's a small amount of cases. I think this was like in the 175, which is a lot for the Queens Road. Most of our whites are kind of in the 70 to maybe 200 range case, so it's not very many cases. So it's more passion than anything. So excuse me. Let's see, another question. Fermentation method. Yeah. Fermentation method for this would be in concrete. We don't work with barrel as of right now. So we like to either do in neutral oak and some new as well, just to give a little richness to it. I used to do steel, and it gives a nice freshness to it. But as I've moved along, the barrel, having a little bit more newer oak seems to work better for us, for our vineyard in the Marsanne. So I've moved towards that more. I still take a little bit and ferment in small tanks just to get a little bit of freshness to it. But as I've gone forward in my career, I think that I prefer using the oak just a touch more. So thanks for the question, K-Mag. The Inland Rocks Viognier, Dave, it is unfined, unfiltered. Yep. So that's how we do every wine here at Rhine Band. It's a belief. It's what we do, and we never want to take away anything from what we do all year. Work so hard in the vineyards for. So, let's see, Stephen Rapkin, what's going on? Can you comment on what each grape contributes to the flavor? Sure. The Marsanne, I would say, is that salinity, oyster shell characteristic. There's a viscosity to it that comes with it. The Viognier has a little bit of textural stuff in there, but on this particular wine, it's more of the aromatic. You get a slight kind of tropical note in the background, a little bit of peach, pineapple. So that's probably coming from the Viognier. The Marsanne is more minerality driven, more kind of sometimes like straw-like, a little bit of characteristic of that, but more of a richness and viscosity to it. Yeah, great acid in it. Probably I would say some of our other Queens Road have had a little bit more of a denser characteristic. So this has a little more of the acid. That kind of contributes from the year, I think, in terms of the yield of it and everything. So let's see here. Ryan H. Gilmore, that Marsanne Magnum from Fall. Yes. Yeah, so everyone, it's very limited quantities. We're trying to figure out a way to get some to our great folks here. We did 100% Marsanne for the 2017 vintage. That is, remarkable. One of my favorite wines I've ever made. And we only did it in magnums, so we're probably, we're going to try to dole it out as best we can, but it's a very small amount, but we're going to try. So thank you for asking about that. We'll do our best. Everyone, I would say this wine has got a long life ahead of itself. It's bright right now. It's fresh. Think about what you want to pair it with if you're cooking at home right now, and when you go out, what you would think. But really, really want to thank you again for being a part of all this, and we just love doing it. And I want to say that since we're doing the next series of wines coming up, we hope you guys stay and come back. And next one's going to be really fun. It's next week's wine, or I should say wines, is going to be a little battle of the 2015 the Classic, which is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, and the newest release of the Classic, the 2017, which is a Bordeaux blend. So I hope if everyone has some at home or needs some, call us. We'll do our best to get it to you as fast as possible. But that is going to be a truly fun one, because I think they're fantastic wines, and it'll be so fun to see where they're at and where they're going to be, and just talk about that some more. So everyone, I wish you all the health and happiness in the world, and thank you again for being here. And we look forward to seeing you next week. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks. Bye. Thanks, Dave.